with a heavy foot. He tells me he's leaving. I listen to his reasons, promises of return. My face waters with sweat, tears, knowing I will not take him back into the folds of my love. This quiet dusk, I watch the sky float in the Rio Grande, dream of the waves of muscles swelling across the broad back, the camber of his mouth, hard, handsome face softening when he backs away from me. I remember our fingers sliding off the cliff of our grasp, the cavern of emptiness. I shudder. The next touch will not be his. I feel the petals of my want withering along the pebbled stone of distance.
Thank you, Charlotte. I love that poem, Loretta's, as well. Thank you so much for reading that as well as your own. So Lucy Griffith will be our next reader. Lucy hails from Comfort, Texas, and her poem is on page 171. Come on up, Lucy.
Well, my guest poem's going to follow me. So in the interest of how late it's getting to be, I'll just do mine. I've been going to West Texas, far West Texas, for about 40 years. And if you drive out there and you're out in the middle of nowhere, you're really lucky. You might see this strange thing. And it would be a woman on a burro with a big hat. And her name was Judy Majors, and she was nicknamed the Burro Lady, or La Reina. And she was out there for about 30 years. And her legal address was on the road to Ringwood, Texas. She died in 2007. La Reina. I take no charity. I shun your pity. I am not homeless. My hat makes a fine roof. My colorful blankets are my floor. My fragrance, the smell of creosote. My journey follows the bar ditch, my rhythm, the flop of my burro's ears, my music, the clop of his hooves. And I'm proud to ride tall, my boots and spurs, part of me. No tent, no fire. I trade comfort for independence. And I don't want to talk. For I am full with thousands of sunsets and billions of stars in a quiet so still, I hear my heartbeat. Do not lay your story over mine. I have my secrets, not lonely, just alone, answering only to my burro and myself. I ask your respect, for I am La Reina, queen of her own life.
Thank you, Lucy. That was wonderful. Lynn Reynolds comes from Houston, Texas, and she will be our next reader. Her poem is on page 194. Lynn? There you are.
Here I am. I'm coming.
I knew you were there.
I'm trying to get organized over there. This is so much fun. It really is. I'm going to read a guest poem first. It's on 168, and this is a poem I've been wanting to read for so long. I'm so excited I finally get to do it. It is written by Michael Montlock, and it is Granddaddy Jess. And Granddaddy Jess was the grandfather of Stevie Nicks. And Stevie Nicks, of course, sung with Fleetwood Mac back in the 70s when I was a teenager, and wow, that was for the psychedelic rock days. And I actually got to see Fleetwood Mac. I don't remember how I got in there. I must have just been 18 or something. I don't know. I remember the acid rock going on in the background, and I remember her just standing there. Back then, women weren't in rock and roll. I mean, she was one of the first. to stand up there with all those men and sing in her beautiful dresses, and that voice was so distinctive and different. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought she was fabulous. I'll never forget sitting
She's
there.
still fabulous.
She's still fabulous. Just did a whole new, yeah, and I just remember as that 18-year-old girl looking at her standing up there, and I was so impressed, and all the rockers were in love with her, and she did not return that. She stayed pretty much her own woman. So this is written about her grandfather. There's a lot of Stevie in it, though. Her grandfather was a country singer, went around honky tonks, very small, and he would take her with him. And so he sort of taught her about what this kind of singing life was like. So Granddaddy Just. 4 years old, I balanced on that bar top, my first stage. Speckled with the shine of new quarters, the regulars tossed at my feet. Someday it'd be roses and baby's breath cushioning the path in my platforms, 6 or 8 inch heels, elevating me as Granddaddy's hands had lifted me up to that bar. My Granddaddy, a country western singer who never really made it beyond the saloon circuit of smaller southwestern cities, always said or sang or scolded, "Sing like you mean it, Stevie, like you mean it." Today, sequins, rhinestones, silvery threads, and brocaded chiffon shipped from India, and the sweat and tear gloss that could come only from a song sung with meaning, sung with urgency, to please a disappointed Granddaddy so he might see beyond his failures to the child still bowing there in a glittering shower of coins. She was that. Glittering shower of coins. Okay, my poem is on page 194. This is Devil Girl. She is definitely a misfit. She likes being out in nature more than she likes being around people. And I grew up with 2 people like that, and I was at one point sort of like that myself. So I have a kind of a connection with Devil Girl. There goes that devil girl, they would always say, born to a drunk mama during the worst squall they could ever remember. The devil wasn't in me, but nothing normal was. I was of the desert, and it was of me. Sharp and chiseled, I would come from the sagebrush with scorpions in my pockets and lizards on my shoulders. I had the plains in my eyes and the wind in my blood. Anyone could see that, but not knowing how to talk to geography, people just stepped around me like a tree in the road, a rock in the path, an inconsequential part of their life that was there, whether they wanted it or not. It was weeks before anyone noticed I was gone, but one day they felt that something was missing. There was an empty space that should be filled. They were not sad, because it was just the impermanence of things. One day there was sun, the next there was rain. One day I was there, the next I was not. So they symbolized this bit of life and taught it to their children. And for generations, when anything went missing, something that was suddenly gone, like a box of nails or a pair of gloves, they would always say, "There goes that devil girl."
Our final reader for this evening will be Vanessa Zimmer-Powell from Houston, whose poem is on page 196. I just wanted to take a moment and thank Malvern once again for having us here, for staying a little bit after their normal closing. So when we get done, please enjoy, buy some books, but be aware that we'll probably be needing to make our way out fairly soon. So anyway, please welcome Vanessa Zimmer-Powell from Houston.
So glad to be here hearing all these wonderful poems. Whoops, it is a little shaky. Okay, let's keep this up here. The guest poem I'm going to do is on page 110. It's not only short, but it's also a wonderful poem, and it's different. It's about a daredevil stunt. It's in the voice of a daredevil stunt pilot by Ormer Locklear. It's called The Wing Walker. Records are set and broken. reset, broken again, just like flyers' bones. Men die leaving, learning to fly. Here in Texas, and the life expectancy of a fighter pilot overseas, 3 weeks. I climb out of the cockpit, my partner takes the controls, I walk the lower wing, do handstands on the top. Pickens heard about our stunts, signed me and my pals, Skeets and Shorty, to wing walk, rain, shine, or cyclone. In Uniontown, Erie, and Atlantic City, $1,000 a show. He bills us as a circus, 3 miles long and a mile high. When I fell, he said, bandages are box office. My poem is on page 196, and I wanted to write this poem because I was really intrigued with the landscape of White Sands, New Mexico, just that the savagery of it and the beauty. And Ornella Steiner was a French woman who was traveling with her husband and her young son, and they were just really captivated by the West, and they hadn't seen anything like this coming from France, and they were so enamored with our landscape. But Ornella did not have enough water while she was out in White Sands, New Mexico, and died out there. And this is written in the voice of her as she's dying. It's called On the Way Out. Where are you, my boys, mon ange? I feel like I am a speck of sand sinking into 1,000 pieces, far from green Bourgogne, where heat is never this heat. When I told you to walk ahead without me, that I would return to the trailhead, should I have mentioned how my head feels swollen, how each step I am slower and fall further from our American dream, how the white and blue of this wide open sky and gypsum sand are ready to bury me. To walk here is like sinking uphill the soft sands of Argel-sur-Mer beach. I feel the weight of each leg, especially the one with the knee that always aches. Even this wouldn't be so bad if I had brought more water. When you disappeared over the last dune, I swallowed your names like rain. David, Enzo, White Sands. She is laughing at me for thinking I could capture her in photos, wrap her up, post her on Facebook for Reams Town Hall co-workers. She teaches me about heat, isolation, absence. Now that I am alone, I understand the suffocation of vastness. I taste my salt in the gypsum sand. This moonscape breathes heat. Dunes stare at me like white windows, soak me with empty-eyed sun. I want to argue about water. It is your fault, David. It is my fault. It is. Tell me, do you see the orange trail markers? Did you make it to dry Lake Otero? Did you put your fingers into the crust of her ice-age bed? I hope you did this for me. I am sick for thirst of water. I want to swim in a cool place, leave this endless moonbed nausea. Mon ange, I have entered an ocean of heat, and I only have my salt to drink.
So thank you, everyone, and let's give a round of applause to Malvern Books. There are plenty of books back here, many copies of author books in addition to Bearing the Mask. And anyway, thank you again for being here this evening. Have a great evening.